Believing in bad luck may seem silly, but in a small garden there lived a flying heron that constantly passed bad things to him, because wherever he flew, something took him by surprise. The heron was always sad. She felt that she could not go anywhere without something bad chasing her. So she decided to lock herself in a treehouse and never leave. Thus, weeks passed and the heron did not leave her little house, until one day she heard something little birds talking about something impressive that happened beyond the garden. They say that every night beautiful magic touches the sky, said one of the birds. But that magic cannot happen by itself, someone said. Most provoke it. Another bird said. Yes, they said that it is a magic squirrel. It can solve everything that is presented to it, replied the first bird, and then the second bird started flying away. In that instant, the flying heron felt a pang of hope, because if there was an animal that worked magic and helped others, then she had to find it, and only then would she stop having bad luck. For this reason, the flying heron got ready. Look for a helmet, boots, and a first aid bag to learn against anything bad that could happen to it. That same morning, she decided to leave. She did not say goodbye to anyone because the other animals were afraid of her. They thought bad luck was contagious. However, she had only one friend, the sleeping bear, who did not care about bad luck because he was very calm and only liked to sleep and see his friends sometimes. The flying heron could not say goodbye to him because he was asleep, but he was reassured to know that when they returned, they could play outdoors without fear of something bad happening around. The heron was flying over the garden, and a storm suddenly knocked her down. She was about to finally leave the garden, but since they could no longer fly, a little sad, she decided to sleep in a tree in the rain in waiting to it for happening. So the hero had to cover herself with the few blankets she had managed to bring from her little house and try to sleep meanwhile, despite the terrible sounds of the branches and the storm happening. The next day, the flying heron got up a bit sore, but at the same time she was happy because she was getting closer and closer to the goal. So she finally managed to get out for the first time in her life from the garden where she had grown up. In that instant, she realized that he had no idea exactly where this magic squirrel was, but it was his last hope, and he had gotten there. It was not by chance. He had to try to the end until getting this squirrel and decide what is the thing about solving the backlog issue. Unfortunately, many days passed and the heron had no sign of the magic squirrel, nor had she had been able to see the supposed magical reflections that manifested in the sky. In fact, this seemed a completely normal place like the garden itself. The heron was angry and in pain, and she was already considering giving up. But at that moment, the squirrel suddenly passed through the place and began to do magic. This greatly impressed and flying heron, which would have strewn Xavier. Now ugly things would stop happening to him, such as being cold, hungry, that the rain that let him fly, among other things, of course. Hey, hey, I am the flying Heron, began to say, but at that the magic squirrel very calmly interrupted him. You are the flying hero? I was waiting for you. How would you know I would be here? Asked the hero. I can see everything. I also know everything you have suffered, said the magic squirrel. Didn't you know I need your help? Asked the hero. Yes, but you must understand something. You cannot believe that just because bad things happen to you, you have bad luck. We all have bad days, even me. The secret is knowing how to accept it and put on a good face to receive the good that comes later, said the squirrel with a big smile. But how can I have a good face when bad things happen to me? Asked the flying heron. Like this, said the magic squirrel, while he cast a cloud of rain only on himself, and while the drop of water fell on him, he had a big smile and played with the puddies. The heron, understanding what the squirrel wanted to teach him, accepted the teaching and decided to start putting a good face on any situation. But as a gift, I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about magic. I want you to be the magical flying heron in the garden and help whoever needs it after this very grateful session. In fact, your friend the sleeping bear needs help. He sleeps a lot because he lives near some magic flowers that cause that effect. With magic you can prevent this from happening to him, says the magic squirrel. And the hero felt some guilt because he had been so focused on his problems that he could not tell that his friend needed help. Then they began to practice, and after a few weeks, the squirrel had taught the flying hero everything it knew. And this hero not only learned to do magic but also improved its technique again. Now he could fly through storms. The squirrel had taken him to walk all over the forest that surrounded the garden to show the flying heron the situation that other animals live. The flying heron saw little chicks stuck on a branch, and her mother could not help them. She too, she saw a lion crying because she had days with a splinter on his leg, and the pain was strange and undescribable. On the other hand, there was a mother rabbit desperate because could not little ones. Fortunately, the flying hero and the magic squirrel helped all these animals solve her problems. But the most important thing is that the hero understood that everyone has difficult moments. It's fine. The important thing is to overcome it, and how wonderful when they help you in the process. Finally, the hero, very grateful for what the squirrel had taught him, left for his home, and when he arrived at it, the first thing he did was visit his friend the sleepy bear and help him get out of those involuntary naps. Thus, they managed to enjoy more and help other animals in the garden who were no longer afraid of the hero of or his bad luck, which from now should disappear.